Fixture takeoff. On the sidebar, we just select light fixtures. A couple things about the fixture takeoff that are somewhat unique to the system. The first is that every fixture requires its own unique designation. A letter, a number, or a combination of a letter and number, like A or A1. Typically, this fixture type is taken from the fixture schedule that's somewhere on the drawings. If there is no fixture schedule, you can just make it up. Now, the other thing to keep in mind about fixtures is that the program treats these as what we call quoted items, meaning you need to get a quote from your local supplier. The program is primarily going to take care of the labor on the fixtures. Now, there's three different ways to set up or take off a fixture assembly. I'm going to start with the most basic one, where we build our own fixture assembly from scratch. And then I'm going to come back and show you a couple of shortcuts. So if we're going to build an assembly for just a basic 2x4 lay-in, we can click on Description. We just go to Fluorescent, Lay-in, 2x4. Now the manufacturing catalog number fields are not required, but if we want to enter that information here, we can click on Manufacturer. Now if we want to look for Lithonia, we don't have to scroll down there. We can just type the letter L on the keyboard. It'll jump down to the first one that starts with L, and then we can just double click or select Lithonia. For the catalog number, we're going to type in 2 GT8-332-A12. The lamps have their own menu for fluorescent. T8s and T5s are in this first category. We're going to select a T8 lamp, and we're going to put in 3 lamps per fixture. The voltage is another optional field. It's just there for reference. It's not required that you make an entry. We'll go ahead and select 120. And then we have accessories per fixture. So let's say that we want to include a fixture whip with every one of these fixtures. We can hit Select Items, go to the folder for fixture whips. We can do the field assembled type that are made out of MC cable with varying lengths and number of wires. We can do pre-made whips, we can do snap-in whips, we can even include a box with a whip. And you can add to this list. But for now, we're just going to pick the 6 foot of 12-2 MC cable. That quantity is 1 per fixture. Now, if I also want to include some junction boxes, some J boxes, and let's say I want 1 J box with every 2 fixtures, I would go to J boxes, 4-inch square with a blank cover, a standard junction box. But for the quantity here, we'll put in 0.5, a half a box. That way, again, we'll get 1 with every 2 fixtures. For the quantity here, we're just going to put in 40. Again, hit F2 takeoff with the mouse or F2 on the keyboard. So that's how you build a fixture assembly from scratch. Now, there's 2 really simple and helpful shortcuts that will pertain and be useful to virtually any size or type of job. You always start with the next designation, which for this one is going to be A1. Now, if A1 is similar to A, let's say it's a 2-lamp 2x4 lay-in instead of a 3-lamp, we can copy the fixture we've already set up by hitting the little drop-down arrow to the right of the A1. We click on A to copy it, and then we just need to make a couple of minor changes. We're going to change the catalog number here, make it a 232. More importantly, we're going to change the number of lamps from 3 to 2. Everything else we can leave the same. For the quantity, we're going to put in 30 and hit Takeoff. So anytime you can copy a fixture, it saves you a bunch of steps. Now, the other shortcut I want to show you here is using assemblies that are already in the system. And this is the shortcut I think that you can make the most use out of. The designation I put in is X. So if this is an exit light, we know that's a very common fixture assembly again. So instead of making it up ourselves, we're going to go to Saved Assemblies. Up at the top here, we see an exit fixture for a T-bar ceiling. That brings in the exit fixture. It brings in a box with a plaster ring and a T-bar bracket. Now, let's just say for the sake of argument that I want a different whip here. I can delete this one. Go back up to the top and hit Saved Assemblies. Sorry, go back up to Select Items and go to Fixture Whips. We're going to do a 10-foot whip here and hit OK. Now, if I want to permanently modify that assembly, So I now have this whip instead of the previous one. Now we go back up to saved assemblies. If you were going to add a new one to the list, it would be save screen. It would prompt you for a name for a new assembly. If you just want to update or modify the one that's already here, we hit update screen, yes to confirm it, and from now on, this fixture assembly will be configured just the way you see it on the screen. Now again, with the exit light, the lamps are really kind of irrelevant. We don't need to specify those, and if you don't want to put the manufacturing catalog number in, it's not required. Most of the time, estimators will photocopy that from the drawings or scan it in and send that over to the supplier with their counts. We're going to put in 10 for the quantity here and hit takeoff. Now, one more helpful thing in the fixture takeoff is a report that you can generate at any point that'll give you your fixtures that you've taken off up to this point. Up in the top right, we've got this report button, which is a report just on fixtures. We're going to hit OK here. And you'll see a report here that you can print. The printer button would print this. You could print it and fax it off to your suppliers. All of the reports have this preview mode. And this preview mode shows you exactly what the report will look like if you print it. And they all have the option to be saved electronically as a PDF file. The save file here would let us save this report, give it its own name, save it wherever we want to on our computer, and then once it's saved as a PDF file, you can send it electronically to as many people as you want.